Yeah, Durga for online training at Gmail.
Yeah. Hi guys. A very good morning, all of you. Hope all of you can hear me. Yeah, guys. Can you please confirm? Is I'm audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute, guys. My pen tablet was not working. Yeah, guys. So, guys, yeah. So let's continue, guys. So in the last session, we have just done with the installation, guys. I told you, what are the different whenever we open the Power BI. So what are the different environments we are going to, or what are the different options you can see as part of that particular Power BI environment? So I told you to install Power BI Desktop. So what is that Power BI Desktop? I told you. So Power BI Desktop is a desktop based application where we can create the reports. But we cannot manage the reports from the help of which is going to be the Power BI Desktop. We cannot do, guys. So just quickly, once again, if you recap the last class once again. So whenever I open the Power BI, so we have got some kind of an Power BI environment. So this is like simple, a very simple environment, guys. So on the top, whatever we have seen is going to be what we are going to call it as. There are going to be some different options which are going to be what we call it as ribbons. Like we are having something called as a home ribbon. After that, we have seen something about a insert, and after that, we have seen something about a modeling, and it is going to be view, optimize. Like that, we have a different types of ribbons are there. And in each and every ribbon there are different options will be there, guys. In home ribbon we have a different options are there. In insert ribbon we have a different options are there. And on the left hand side we have got some three small kind of a buttons are there. So this is going to be the first one is going to be what we call it as report view. I told you guys what is the report view basically used for. Whenever you want to see the reports, whenever you want to design our reports, we should do only in the report view only. If you want to see the data, then we are going to be having a table view where we can see the data in the tables that are imported into the Power BI. And apart from that, we also have seen something called as a model view, guys. So these are the three different views that has been available on the left hand side. And on the right hand side, we have got three different panes, guys. We have got three different panes we have got in, guys. One is going to be what we call it as, which is going to be the filters pane was there. And second one is going to be nothing but we have a visualizations pane was there. And thirdly, we have a one more is going to be that is nothing but it's a data pane was there. So data pane contains all the tables, all the data, whatever we have imported. Visualizations pane contain all the components that we can place it in our visuals. And filters pane is basically used to apply the filters. Like yesterday, I shown you one simple example I told you. And this space is nothing but what we are going to call it as a canvas. These are all called as data pane. It is a visualizations pane, and which is going to be the filters pane is there. That's it, guys. This is going to be the options, whatever we have. So what are the different views? What are the different panes? What are the different ribbons? That's it. So as I told you, whenever you want to design the reports, mainly we are having three steps are there, guys. First one is going to be, we have to import the data first of all. I told you, today we are going to import the data. Today we are going to discuss about how to import the data. I'll tell you, today I'll discuss it. Second thing is going to be, after importing the data may not be in a, the data may not be in a readily to do your visualization. So the visualization requires some data to be transformed or some data need to be added. We have to do that. So that is what we are going to call it as, we have to transform the data, guys. So we have to transform the data. Data transformation means according to your requirement, we have to make some changes to the data. Don't think that every information that is required in your visual is readily available in your table. It may not be available. So we have to derive it. We have to transform it. Whatever you want, we can do that. How do you do this transformation of the data, guys? This transformation of the data can be done by using another window called as, which is going to be what we call it as a Power Query editor, guys. This is Power BI desktop, guys. Whatever I'm talking about here is, it is going to be Power BI desktop. Your Power Query editor environment is going to be looks in a different way. That is a different way, guys. There also we have a ribbons are there. There also we have a home ribbon, we have a transform ribbon, add column, and we have something called as an view. That is going to be different window will be there. But there it is going to be different, guys. Power Query editor is going to be different. That look and feel appearance of Power Query editor is going to be different, guys. In Power Query editor, what we can do, guys, we can only transform the data. We can transform the data. In Power BI desktop, what we can do, we can import your data, you can create your data, as well as we are also going to create your visuals. Whereas in Power BI, in a Power Query editor, we can't do any visuals, guys. What we can do here also, we can import the data, as well as we can also transform the data. So all the transformations are going to be done in the Power Query editor. Here also we have a ribbons. Here also we have the ribbons are there, guys, but these ribbons are going to be different. Okay, so here we have a home ribbon is there as usually. After that, we are having transform ribbon will be there. And after that, we are having add column ribbon will be there. And after that, view ribbon will be there. And apart from that, diagnosis will be there, guys. We have a something called as a diagnosis. Those are going to be something what we can have it here. And on the left hand side, we can see something like a queries. And on the right hand side, we are going to be seeing something called as a query settings will be there. Like that, the environment is going to look, all the queries will be available here and all the query settings will be available here. Here we can see the data. We can't create any visuals. When you selected a query, all the data in the query is nothing but a table, guys. In Power BI, we are going to call our table as a query. Whatever the data we have been imported into the Power BI, it is going to be what we are going to call it as a data, guys. Okay, so how do you get this particular Power Query editor? Don't worry, I'll show you once again. We have not yet started with any practicals. So I'm going to discuss about this, guys. So what we have to do, we all of you know that, guys. Simple, open your first of all, open your Power BI desktop. Open the Power BI desktop, guys. We already installed the Power BI desktop. So the latest version is already we updated. So the latest version has been updated to the January update we have done, but still it is showing as a December update only. Later we'll see 1 or 2 days later, we'll see them. So this is what we all of you know that it is going to be nothing but your Power BI desktop, guys. So left hand side, there are 3 views are there. Report view, it is a table view, it is a model view. On the right hand side, there are 3 views, panes are there, guys. One is the filters pane, visualizations pane, and data pane. And on the top, we can see home ribbon, insert ribbon, modeling ribbon, view, optimize, and help. If you want to open the Power Query editor, we have to click on this transform data, guys. There is something called as a transform data was there. If you open the transform data, you can see something called as a Power Query editor is called. It is called as a Power Query editor, guys. It is what we are going to call it as a Power Query editor. This one, guys. Clearly, we can see this is going to be what we are going to call it as a Power Query editor is what we are going to call it as. As I already told you, there is an home ribbon is there, transform ribbon is there, add columns are there, view is there. Okay, tools, and which is going to be some tools in diagnostic tools are there. So what we call it as diagnostics tools, guys. And on the home ribbon, if you can see on the left hand side, we have the queries. Right now, we don't have any queries as of now. And on the right hand side, if you have any queries, you'll be getting some query settings on the right hand side. And you can see the data here, guys. Because I don't have any data right now, it is not showing me anything. So data transformations are going to be done by using this particular what the so-called as, which is going to be nothing but the Power Query editor is where we are going to transform the data, guys. Got the point? So Power Query editor is the place where we are going to transform the data, and Power BI desktop is going to be the location where we are going to, it is going to be nothing but where we can import the data and we can create your visuals. Got it, guys? So these are the mainly the two windows which we are going to work with them. So Power BI Desktop, I'm going to use this, and as well as which is going to be the Power Query Editor is also what I'm going to be using, guys. So now the thing is, basically in our reporting project, there are 4 stages are there, guys. 4 or 5 stages. Some people call it as 5 stages. Some people call it as 4 stages, whatever it may be. But very simple, guys. Whenever we see the reporting pipeline, whatever the pipeline you see, it is very simple, guys. The first step is going to be what we are going to call it as import the data, guys. Import the data. And second one is going to be, as I told you, we have to transform the data, guys. We have to transform the data. The third step is going to be, we have to create the visuals. We have to create the visuals, guys. And finally, the fourth step is going to be nothing but we have to, which is going to be publish the reports. Publishing means we are distributing the reports, guys. We are going to publish the reports or publish the visuals. There are 4 steps are there. So I said that somebody will say 5 steps are there. 5 steps is nothing but the 5th step is nothing but somebody will say that we have to go for something called as a modeling of your data. So all these are done as part of this one step only. I'm not writing it specifically, guys. So import your data, transform the data, create the visuals and publish the visuals. So these are the steps what we have to do, guys. So first we have to discuss a little bit about the concept of importing the data, guys. Let me explain the concept. So we have seen, I told you, we are having the how the reporting has been evaluation has been evolved. I told you. Like for example, let us talk about some examples. Like as I told you about the second generation systems. Like I have worked with SSRS as well as I have been got worked with Cognos, etc., etc. I have been got worked with the tools. Okay, I think we have one of our participant is also an expert in Cognos. So let us just ask him some few questions. I didn't remember his name. Yeah, who is that? Who is working on Cognos? I think we have been discussed in the last class. Who is that?
Yeah, Vamsi.
Yeah,
Kiran
Kiran.
here.
Kiran.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Kiran. I think can you share your how you are going to work? Like you are working in Cognos. So how do you import the data into the Cognos? That means how do you create the reports into Cognos? Then just can you explain that once?
Yes.
You have a database system is there, for example. From this
Yes.
database, I want to create the reports. Okay, your reporting tool is going to be Cognos. Okay, fine. Can you just explain it once?
Yeah. First, initially we will do the data modeling.
Okay.
For that, we will use the Cognos Framework Manager tool.
Okay. Okay.
In
fine.
that, we will create a bridge connection from this from database to this Cognos Framework Manager tool.
Okay. So can you tell me what is the framework manager? What is the framework is going to contains? Will it contains the data or will it contains the data or the structure of the data? What it contains?
First, we will pull the data from database to the framework manager.
Okay.
All the tables and required columns. In that, we will give the joins.
Okay. Will the framework will contain the data or only the metadata? Only structure it contains?
Metadata.
It contains metadata. Metadata means you will be having only the structure is going to be there. That means we are just importing the metadata. And after that, using this particular metadata, we are creating the reports, right?
Yeah. From that, we are publishing the packages to the Cognos Report Studio. In Report Studio, we will use those packages and we'll develop the reports.
Okay. Okay. So whenever you run the report, whenever we run the report, from where the data is going to be coming in your report, will the data will be stored in the Cognos, or will the data will go to the database and it will get the data? What it will do basically?
It will fetch from the database.
It will fetch from the database. That means every time when you run the report, the request has to go to the database and it has to pull the data, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, guys. So I think whatever Kiran has explained, you understood, guys. Once again, I'll explain from my side also. Okay, in terms of Cognos, I'm not talking in terms of Cognos. These are all my second generation systems, guys. These are our second generation system. SSRS and Cognos, there are going to be our second generation systems. So in second generation system, what is a problem here is that data is not going to be stored into your Cognos. So that's why what it has to do is Cognos does not have any data storages, or else leave it. Let us talk about a SQL Server reporting services. We'll talk about that. In SQL Server reporting services, when you design a report, what is the report contains? The report is going to contains, let us say there is a database system is there. From this data, I want to generate a report. Okay, so in Cognos, we are going to call this layer as a logical, which is going to be logical model or something there are going to be call it, which is in Power BI, we are calling this a semantic model. I'll tell you later. So whenever you design the report will contain only the metadata, the structure it will contain. That means what is the name of the table, what are the columns are there, all these things will be imported into the report. Now with the help of this structure, I design the report, and whenever I run the report to fetch the data, metadata is there in the report. For that, I need not to go to the database. But whenever I want to run the report and when you want to see the data, every time the request will go to the database and the data is going to be fetches and it is going to be gives back to the report. Every time you run, the request has to go to the database system. That is what basically we are having the problem. And to overcome that particular problem, we have some other mechanisms are there, a caching mechanism or something called as a snapshot mechanisms. A different tools will use this. So what they will do is they don't store any data, but whatever the data was there temporarily, that will be stored somewhere, and it is going to fetches the data from the temporary locations, generally which we call it as caching concept or what we call the snapshot mechanisms, which we are going to be using. So what I mean to say is your report will contain only the metadata. Whenever you want to run the report with your data, you can just every time you have to go to the data source and we have to get the data. That is what our second generation systems are doing. But now whenever we talk about the current, whatever we are talking about, the latest generation systems like Power BI. See this, guys. So let us say that this is our Power BI tool. So this is your Power BI, guys, where we can design our reports. Now this is your data source. What is a data source? Data source is nothing but source of your data. It can be a file, or it can be a database system, or it can be a cloud storage. It can be any type of a storage, guys. I'll talk about them. It can be a cloud storage, etc., etc. It can be there. So from where you want to get the data? So I want to generate a report. My manager asked it to generate a report. I want so-and-so report, sales report based on so-and-so year. Where is the data is there? Okay, wherever the data is there, it may be there in data source or it may be somewhere. So in Power BI, we are having two options are there, guys. There are two options are there. One is going to be what we are going to call it as, which is going to be, I'll show you guys later, we'll see that. It is going to be load data is going to be one thing, guys. And other one is going to be what we are going to call it as a direct query mechanism. We are going to be using them. There are two mechanisms will be there. But don't worry, all these options will not work in all the types of sources. But let me tell you about the idea here. Okay, forget about that. Later I'll tell about that. Whether you want to load the data or whether you want to import the data or whether you want to go for something called as a direct query, I'll tell you. Now, what is Power BI will do, guys? Whatever the data that based on which you want to generate a report, that data is going to be comes and that will be stored into Power BI. It will be directly stored into in your Power BI database. It will be stored. Power BI will internally contain some database, some data storage will be there, depending on the product, whatever we are using. So the space will be varied, guys. For example, if you are using a free version, you may get only 1 GB space only, we are going to get it. If you are using a professional version, you may get a 10 GB space, you may get it. That means up to that particular space, your Power BI is capable to store the data. Now see what is going to happen now. The data will be imported and the data is going to be stored into Power BI. Now generate your report. Generate your report. Now report is going to goes every time. It does not goes to the data source. Already Power BI is already having the data. So what it will do is it will pull the data directly from the Power BI database only. It can pull the data. Even if I disconnect this data source, that means even if I disconnect this data source also, there is no problem at all. There is no problem at all, guys. Why? Because even if I disconnect this database system also, I don't have any problem because your data is already there at the Power BI level. It is already there. So you can carry your Power BI application very easily anywhere. Previously, what used to happen here is, for example, let us talking about the previous systems. For example, whenever I given a share the report to anybody, along with the report I shared, I also have to share the database. Along with the Cognos data or along with the Cognos report, I have to share the data to the other system whenever I want to move it. But here it is not like that. Power BI will have its own data storage. There are two modes are there, which can have a data storage, which does not have a data storage also what we can do. So that direct query means what it will do is load data means it will load the data into Power BI and access the data. If I said direct query means there is only just connection will be there. Every time the request will go to the database and pulls the data. So due to that, there are some advantages and disadvantages are there, guys. For example, what is the advantage? What is the main advantage, guys? Performance will be very faster. Why performance is very faster? Because the data and the report both are stored in the same location. Performance will be faster, but only problem here is if any data was changed in the data source, that will not be reflected in your database unless and until you don't refresh the data. You can see there is one option called as refresh data option will be there, guys. There is one option called as refresh data option is going to be there, guys. So you can see very clearly there is an option called as n, which is going to be the refresh data is going to be there. Where is that? Yeah, it's going to be refreshed. Currently there is no data is there, right? So refresh data is going to be not enabled. It will be enabled only whenever there is a data was there. That means whenever I say refresh the data, then again the data will come and stored it into Power BI. So there are some advantages. What is the advantage? Data performance, your report performance will be very, very faster, guys. Very, very faster. These reports are not like that, guys. These reports are very slow. I'll show you. Even I'll show you those reports also. I'll show you, guys. I don't show you Cognos, but I'm going to show you SSRS reports. So in SSRS, how the reports are created and how the Power BI reports are going to be created. So performance will be very, very faster. Whenever I click on the report, immediately the data will come because my data is locally located. But here the data is not locally located, somewhere in the remote location. It has to go there, pull the data, and then we have to submit. We have to project the reports here now. So that is what we call it as that. What we are going to call it as the direct query method, and this is what we are going to call it as a load data mechanism. What we are going to call it as, guys. So don't worry, we'll see all these applications later. Once again, in the later classes, we are going to see them, guys. So just to show you the concept, I'm not doing anything. I'm just clicking on the SQL Server. I want to import the data from this one. Can observe carefully data connectivity mode. There are two modes are there, guys. One is import data. Sorry, it is only just import. That is what we call it as import data. And there is another mechanism called as direct query. There are two options are there. Import means data is imported into Power BI. Data will come, structure will come. Direct query means it is only query, only the structure will come, but not the data. Data does not come, only structure will comes. Okay, we'll see the application later. So there are going to be something called as, which is going to be the data connectivity mode. Select the default storage mode of the new tables. This is what the difference between what is the difference between an import and which is going to be direct query mechanism. Okay, once again we'll discuss it later. Once again it is going to be, we'll discuss it later. But what is going to be the import, guys? You see the option here, import versus which is going to be import versus which is going to be direct query, guys. So import versus what is going to be direct query in Power BI. So there is going to be the difference between them, guys. See there, the key difference between the direct query and import in Power BI are data storage and processing. The import method, what the import method will do, guys? The import method will store the data within the Power BI file. Your data is going to be there in your Power BI file. While the direct query retrieves only the data directly from the data source in the real time. Real time means every time you run, it will go there and it will get the data. Data storage does not take place as part of the application here now. So this is what we can see, and the application, what we can see the application. So anyhow, we are not discussing about them application as of now directly. We'll see the application. In Power BI, there are two primary ways to connect and retrieve the data from a data source: import and direct query. Import, what is import, guys? Directly data will come. When you import the data into the Power BI, it means that the data is loaded into the Power BI internal data model. Power BI creates a copy of the data within its own environment, allowing for faster visualization and analysis, as already told you. All data transformations and calculations are performed with the Power BI desktop or Power BI service. So you can make any changes, but the changes are done only in the Power BI only. It is only done within the Power BI desktop or Power BI service. But what is direct query, guys? Direct query is going to be nothing but what you are trying to do is it only imports only the metadata. So direct query is a connectivity mode where Power BI sends a queries directly to the underlying data source in the real time without importing the data into the Power BI model. It enables users to create the reports based on the live data in the whatever the source system, ensuring that the report are always up to date. Latest data will come always, but performance will be slow, guys. Data transformations or calculations are performed in the source data, but not in the Power BI. They are done in the in the actual data source, but not in the which is going to be Power BI. So what are the different considerations when to use this one or when to use this one? We can use it. See there, direct query is beneficial for large data sets. Why it is beneficial for large data sets? Because large data sets, we cannot store it into Power BI. That's why direct query is generally beneficial for large size of data sets. How can you get it and store it in Power BI? Don't store it. When you want to ensure the real-time data access, but it may have a high performance, but it may have some performance implications depending on the complexity of the whatever the query and the capabilities of the data source. Import allows for more extensive data modeling and transformation within the Power BI, while direct query relies on the capabilities of the source database. So generally, hybrid approach, both of them, we are going to use it, guys. It is going to be used, but how do you decide it, guys? Based on the size of the database, performance requirements, and what is the need of the real data set, whatever you require. Okay, so choosing between import and direct query depends on the factors such as size of the data you said we are importing, plus how about the performance requirements, considerations, and apart from that, the need of the latest data we have to require it. It is often a trade-off between the data refreshness and which is going to be the performance here. Do you want to have the latest data? Performance will be slow. If you want to have a higher performance, you have to get a late data. That means latest data will not be always displayed for us. So that is what basically I can just discuss about these methods. But anyhow, later we are going to discuss about all these things once again. But let us discuss about what are the different type of data sources we can get in, guys. From where you can get the data. Mainly, we are going to use 3 different type of data sources, guys. So what is a data source, guys? Data source is nothing but your source of data. That means the place from where the data is imported, from where the data is getting imported, from where the data is imported. So I want to generate a report, but whenever you want to generate a report, some data must be there. You cannot enter the data, guys. My company's sales data was there. From the last 10 years, my company's sales data was there. I want to generate the reports based on that. So where is the data is coming? So that is nothing but your data source, guys. Basically, as I already told you, there are 2-3 different type of data sources. We'll use them, guys. One is files. One is files, guys. So what is the advantages? What are the disadvantages? We're going to discuss both of them, guys. So we'll discuss both pros and cons. So we are going to be using on the files concept. Let us discuss about. Generally, what are files, guys? What do you mean to say, what is a file? You know that file means nothing but the data is going to be nothing but they're available. Sorry, guys. They're available in a file format. Examples of file format, guys. It may be a CSV file. It may be an Excel sheet, or it may be something like we can also call it as some XML file, or nowadays we are getting JSON files, etc., etc. We can talk about them, guys. TXT files, CSV files, anything it can be there, guys. Okay, so file means it is available in a file. You know that a CSV file can contain the data, an Excel sheet can contain a data, or XML file can contain a data, a JSON file can contain a data. So many different types of file formats are there. Then what are the pros and what are the cons if you see them? Pros is going to be nothing but very simple, guys. Very, very easy to share with you. They are very, very easy to share with you, guys. I can share them very easily. For example, I'm using a CSV file. I can send it in the chat window, or I can send it over through the mobile phone, through the WhatsApp or something. I can send it, or through an email, I can send it. Easy to share. Second thing is, no specialized softwares are required. There is no specialized software is required. No specialized software. If you open a CSV file, you don't require any specialized software. You can open in a notepad. You can open it in a normal, what we can say, an Excel software. Nowadays, MS Excel is coming at a free of cost. Almost all in every laptop when you buy, we are getting something like a MS Office Home Edition, MS Office Student Edition is coming at a free of cost. Lifetime access they are giving. So no specialized software, and there is very easy to share. I can share it through the WhatsApp numbers I can share, or through the chat window I can send you the file, guys. But what are the main disadvantages is limited size, very small sizes only there are supported, guys. Only for small sizes only there are going to be required. Like only in a MB space only we can use it, guys. Hardly 20 MB, 30 MB files will be there, right? Only those files only we can handle them. If I take a 500 MB file in Excel sheet, your Excel will crashes. If you try to open it, your Excel software will crash. So only for small size data only it is going to be recommended, but very easy to share, and I don't require any specialized software. Maximum I'm going to use as files in my classes only, guys. Why I will use as the files? Mainly, I'm going to teach the class here, guys. You also want to practice them. It is not a programming language to copy and just write down the code, and after the class is completed, you can practice on your system. If you want to practice the examples which are shown in the class, must and should, you should also have the same data with you. For example, I have shown some sales analysis. If you also want to practice, you should know the sales analysis data with you. Then only you can practice it. Otherwise, no practice is done. If I don't share the data sets, guys, you can't do any practice on your own. So data sets are important here now. We have to share the data sets and we are going to get it. I told you now, once if you registered for the course, you will get the access to the drive, and through that drive, you are going to get all the data sets and all these things you will get through the drive, guys. So what is the main advantage of files, guys? No specialized software is required. You don't require any special knowledge. No expertise is required. Easy to share, but only problem here is only for small sized files only we can recommend them. Then what is the second one, guys? It is nothing but database systems. They are going to be nothing but they are the database systems, guys. What are the database systems? There are so many different types of database systems are there, like Microsoft SQL Server, or we are having Oracle database, or we are having IBM DB2 database, or we are having some other database like an Informix. So many databases are there, guys. We are having something like MySQL. If you go on writing, there are so many database systems are there, guys. So we are having something called as an Postgres SQL is there. So many database systems are there, guys. Again, what are going to be the pros and what are going to be the cons if you look at them? What is going to be the pros, guys? The pros are going to be nothing but the first one is supports large size of data. They supports large size data, guys. Maybe somewhere from GBs to TBs it can support, guys. So your database systems are not going to be just for only small size data. Even for GB, 10 GB, 20 GB data also, they can support it. But what are the main cons, guys? Main cons is it is not that much easy to share with you. So I have a data with me. For example, I'm showing one sales report, one sales analysis through a database system. I have a database system is there. Okay. So the database system is having some data. Now I want to share this database to you. How can I share it? Like a file, I cannot share it, guys. Like a CSV file or like an Excel sheet, I cannot share the file. You should have some little bit some technical skill on that. What I will do is I will take a backup of this database. The backup of a database will have an extension of .bak. I will send you this .bak file. If I give you the BAK file, you cannot immediately utilize it, guys. You have to restore the BAK file into your database. We have to restore it. So you should have the skill of how to restore the database. Without knowing that, you cannot do that. So not easy to share. And one more thing is going to be some kind of a specialized language is going to be required, guys. Some kind of a specialized language is going to be required. I think all of you have heard about that. A specialized language is required. Like if you want to work with the database system, you should be having a knowledge of a language called as SQL is going to be required, guys. You have to require a language called as SQL. If you're good at SQL language, then only we can work with the database systems. Even without having the knowledge also, we can work, guys. But if you want to work in a little bit efficient manner, so must and should, you should be having at least some basic idea of SQL. That's the reason we'll say that the Power BI experts also need to have a little bit knowledge of SQL is also required. Not expert, at least some little bit knowledge is required, guys. So see guys, once again, files means TXT file, CSV file, Excel sheets, okay, JSON file, XML files. Advantages, very easy to share. No specialized software is required. But what are the limitation, guys? Only small size data, only MBs of data, only we can handle it. Second category, database systems. Advantages, large size is supported. From GBs to TBs, it will support it. But what is the disadvantage? User requires some specialized software is required. And that is not that much easy to share with you also. I'll take a backup. I will give you the backup file. If you know how to restore the database and all these things, then only we have to do that. Okay, and apart from that, there is a database system should be there in your system also. Without having a database software, we cannot do that. But Notepad is not required. For CSV file, you don't require any separate software. Notepad is sufficient. Notepad comes along with your Windows operating system. So you don't require any specialized softwares that are not required, guys. The third one is going to be cloud storages, guys. There are going to be cloud storages. Nowadays, a very popular storages are going to be cloud storages. Like we have a different type of cloud storages like Azure, Microsoft Azure, or AWS, Amazon Web Services, or Google Cloud Platform, etc., are there. Okay, Azure, AWS, or GCP, what we are going to call it as Google Cloud Platform, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure. Again, what is the pros and what is the cons if you can see? The advantages is going to be, guys, it is going to be always available. It is always available with you guys. For example, let us say that your data is going to be there in a cloud. For example, if data, as I told you, if my data is available in my database system, now I have to share with you. I have to take a backup and I have to give it to you. Your system also should have a database software. You have to restore it. But if it is there in a cloud, it's not required, guys. If my data is there in a cloud, then if I want to share the data, I need not to give any sharing with you guys. I need not to give any sharing. There are some keys will be there. If I share you those particular keys, that is sufficient for us. Directly, you can access the data from anywhere in the world. You need not to carry the data. You need not to carry the data. If it is data is available in my local system, every time I have to carry my data, or every time I have to carry my system. But here it is not like that. Always available. Anywhere you go, the data is available through the online resources. It is available. And even size also, a very, very large size data. There are very large size data, guys. Very large size data. Like it can goes up to something like not only GBs and TBs, a terabytes and petabytes of data also, we can accommodate it. But only the thing is, the limitation is, it is costlier. You have to pay. You have to pay for them. It is going to be pay on use. It is going to be a pay on use mechanism. If you use it, they will charge us. If you use it, they will charge. You can create an account, guys. You can create an Azure account, a free account, an AWS account. You can create it very easily. But whenever you want to use it, you have to pay some money to them. Then only it will be accessible to you. So it will be costlier for us. Because sometimes they may cost a little bit more depending on the usage. So don't prefer them. Generally in real time, what happens, companies will purchase it. So companies are going to purchase them. So companies will take care about that. They will pay it. You need not to pay it individually. Personally, you need not to pay. But here it is not like that. We have to pay it, isn't it? So that is the one which we have to think about, the way which we are going to be gets working with this kind of an application, guys. That's it. So that is going to be the basic understanding of the 3 different type of storages. I'll show you all the type of storages, guys. I'll show you all the type of storages, but not that much frequently. Maximum, we are going to work with the files mechanism. We are going to work with them, guys. We are going to work with the files. Just I'll again show you once again in the later classes. Quickly, I'm going to show you the application, guys. In a quick way, I'll show you the application. Let me show you once. How I'm going to be importing the data, guys. Once again, I'll show you. Don't worry, just quickly, I just explain the concept, right? So I'm going to be explaining the application. See there, guys, very simple, get data. So where you want to get the data, guys? Is it Excel workbook? Is it SQL Server? Is it text or a CSV file from the web or blank query? And even we have a more is option is available, guys. See there is a more option is available, guys. See guys, files, as I already told you, Excel, text or a CSV, XML, JSON, PDF, Parquet file, a SharePoint folder, or it is going to be a folder. Database systems, SQL Server, Access Database, Analysis Services, Oracle, IBM DB2, Informix, Netza, MySQL Database, PostgreSQL, Sybase, Teradata, SAP HANA. So many database systems are there, guys. So many database systems are there. Like that, if you want, we can work with Azure. So these are all Azure related data storages, cloud-based platforms, guys. And there are so many other which is going to be online services are also going to be available. See there, you can connect with any one of the online available resources, we can access them. How many are there? You can see, guys, these many options we are having in them. So quickly, I'm going to show you the data, guys. I want to show the data, just a very small file I'm importing, which is going to be text or a CSV file. Click on connect. What is a text file, guys? It is available in a C drive or D drive or wherever you want. You can have it. As already told you guys, I was into the data science and data analytics. So I will be using a real data sets. I will be using, guys. It's not like just I'll enter the data. Some people will enter the data manually. I'm not going to enter the data manually, guys. Here we have a data was there. So whatever the data you require, just we can select the data and we can do that. A simple data set I'm loading, guys. Just a small data set. Insurance.csv file. So it is establishing the connection with the insurance.csv file. So this is your preview, guys. This is your preview and simply click on the load data, guys. So data was loaded into our Power BI. And once the data was loaded, here we can see your data, guys. Here you can see the data. It's loading. Here we can see the data. Done, guys. Can you observe carefully? The data has came now. So you can see insurance, age, BMI, charges, children, gender, region, smoker, whatever you want, you can work with this kind of a data, guys. So simple. It's very simple drag and drop options, guys. Just if you do the drag and drop option, that is going to be sufficient with that. So just I want to know how many customers are there from male and how many customers are there from female. I want to know that. So we have a gender column is there. I just drag it and drop it on them. It's very simple drag and drop option only, guys. It is going to be drag it and drop it on the x-axis and drag and drop the same gender on the y-axis. But I'm just going to do the counting, guys. See that? It's very easy and very simple, guys. Almost all males and females, almost all both of them are same. In a same count only it will be there. Males are going to be 676, females are 662, guys. That's it. Male is 676, females are going to be 662 is going to be the option what we have it. Like that, guys, we can import any kind of a data sets. So the data sets will be uploaded to the drive, guys. So who has been registered for the course, they will be given the access to the drive. You will get the recording videos as well as your data sets also will come into the drive. From the drive, you can download them, guys. Okay. So that's it, guys. That is going to be for the further today's class. So just for today, we are going to end up the session, guys, and we'll continue on the next class on the Monday's class, guys. Okay. So generally 1 or 2 weeks, we don't put the class on Saturday, guys. Why? Because some new people also may join on Monday. So that's why what we will do is, guys, so you can join on Monday's class. So what we are going to do is, guys, on Monday, we'll start with the same concept, how to import the data. Once I shown you practically, just in a higher level. So in detail level, I'll show it on the Monday's class. And we also import more and more data sets also. We'll import it, guys. Okay. So on Monday, we'll continue this discussion, guys. Tomorrow you don't have a class. So Monday we'll start with how to, already started. I'll show you with a complete application of how to import the data, guys. Okay. So that's it for the today's class, guys. Anybody, any questions, guys, if you have? Anyone having any questions? Right, guys. So just for today, I'll stop it here, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you on the next class, guys. And maybe, guys, next class on from Monday onwards, maybe the link may changes, guys. Why? Because it is going to be already demos are already completed. So you may become, that means the link is going to become a payment link. So who has been registered for the course, only those people will get the link, guys. Okay. So please make sure that if you want to go ahead with the training program, so please register yourself within another 2 days is there, guys. Monday, Tuesday, sorry, Saturday and Sunday, 2 days is there. So complete of your registration. My backend team will contact you. So complete your registration, guys. And Monday we'll get a paid link will come, guys. Okay. So that's it from my side for the today's class. So we'll end up for today, guys. We'll continue on the Monday's class, guys. Thanks all of you, guys.
Thank you.